right. Hello, home service pros. Welcome to the Battle Plan Marketing Podcast, episode number 165. Today we are continuing our book series, $1 Million Contracting with Kim Hopkins. Without further ado, Kim, welcome back to the show, sir.
Thank you, Mark.
Let's keep going. So it's been a few weeks. And the last one was we were covering promotional along with marketing. And we're going to stay in that topic today and talk about paid ads and promos and signs and websites and all kinds of stuff. But let's start with service contracts, maintenance agreements. What are they? Why do we want them? How do they help us?
Okay, well, let's see. From my point of view, for some contractors, it's a great idea. Others, it doesn't really apply very much. It does a little bit, but not much. Like, let's say a roofer or a painter that paints the side of a house. It's like, let me come back once every 6 months and look at your paint drawing. That's not going to work out. But when you have a plumber or an electrician or heating and air, especially because they,
Definitely.
But basically you can find things. We have a thing, let's say we do EV car chargers as an electrician. And so once a year we say, look, they take a lot of power and continuously run, and it's very hard on the panel and the circuit breakers, the electrical issues. So we come back and clean things up. And it's true. Like we really find things all the time. So we offer a service agreement. It actually isn't, we don't give them special pricing either. We just say this every year we come if you want us to, and it costs X amount of dollars. And then we make sure everything's okay. And I don't know, about at least half the time something is not okay. And sometimes it's covered in just the trip because it's an easy thing. If we have to replace a breaker or something, we charge for that. But it's really good for PR more than for profit. And then future work, they're always, staying in front of some customer just, for service work that is planned on, it still allows for future work that comes up. And I'm actually amazed at this point when I look at some of the reviews we get that they say, we've been using the electric connection for many years now, and we're, always happy. And I'm thinking, really, what have we been doing all these years for this single family home? But yes, it really pays. Like usually houses need plumbing. They need electrical. You'd think, and I have a lifetime warranty on our work. So anything we do, if it breaks, it's free. But nevertheless, there seems to be a lot of work all the time, every couple of years from a lot of our customers. Plumbing, I'm sure it's the same, and heating and air for sure, because there are people that don't even want to change their own filters, and twice a year they should do that, So there's a lot of different programs that can be done with the major trades where service is important and just to check up on things. I know water heaters are supposed to be drained and checked and things like that. I don't know how many. And to be honest, I don't do it. I'm a bad typical homeowner. I wait till they break or something.
Yeah, the painter's house needs painting. The electrician's house needs a new panel.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, the water heater should be flushed or tankless descaled annually. Yeah.
Exactly, and it really should be done. No question about it. And you can pick up a lot of, like, we have at least one electrician now that, after several years of installing many, many EV car chargers, just that alone keeps somebody busy half a day forever, and it continues on another 10 years. I'm sure we'll have somebody that's what they do. They just drive around in a little car that has a few tools in it with circuit breakers and whatever else they need, and it's more efficient than an entire van. And it breaks even or makes a little profit, but it's so good for PR, and it creates a lot of future work for sure. So those are my thoughts. Mark, you may have more to say about this.
Do you try to schedule those like in your, do you have a down season? You're not really seasonal electrical, but do you try to move those annual? Well, first of all, I liked how you had a dedicated person too. So maybe speak on that a little bit more. But do you try to get them in down cycle times, Kim?
It can come up like if we are slow for some reason on one day, one guy finishes a job early. We using Service Titan can like there's a well of jobs that we've already scheduled, and we can mine from that well and say, oh, you know what? Like, let's pull this one from next Thursday, and we can do it on Tuesday, and we can call it, that customer and say, how about if we just come right now? And,
Nice.
and so, yeah, we can do it that way. We typically actually schedule in advance these kind of service calls that are yearly maintenance because
Right.
we're fortunate enough to be pretty busy all the time. So we really, if we're going to do that customer within a few days of each year, anniversary, we need to plan on it. We just we don't plan on having downtime. We typically don't have downtime. So we have to sort of
Right.
make our schedules. But sometimes, how things happen, like where we can maybe pull something. We're mostly grateful we get to get a job in there that we didn't expect to get, so we can get some more work that we're having
Nice.
a hard time scheduling. That's we're pretty busy right now.
That's awesome. I didn't know EV chargers had some kind of, regular maintenance needed. So what do they burn the ends or something like that? I don't know. I'm an idiot. I have
What
no
they
idea.
what they do is they pull like on a 30 amp circuit, they pull 24 amps on the wire that's good for 30 amps and on the circuit breaker that's good for 30 amps. But the code says you can only have 80% of
Oh,
whatever the pull is, and that's 24 on a 30 amp breaker. So, but the problem is that code is designed for when you like turn on a garbage disposal or you have an air conditioner that goes on and off or whatever. Okay, what it's not designed for is a car that pulls that 24 amps for like 6 hours straight.
I see.
And that can be taxing on a little bit on the wires, but mostly on the circuit breaker and the connection points where the circuit breaker is and where other points of connection are, let's just say. They then wear and tear. And every
Mm,
day, EV car chargers are particularly stressful on an electrical system. Like kind
crazy.
of like air conditioning in the summer, but at least
Right.
that goes on and off.
Right.
Your air conditioner isn't on for 6 hours a day every single day. Even so, yeah, there's some wear and tear on the parts, not necessarily the actual installation.
Is that a fire hazard of any kind or?
Well, I guess it could become that if something gets gradually looser and looser, like the breaker, and it starts getting hot.
I
But
see.
these days, the way we install it and the material we use, it tends not to ever get to that point. It's more like it just fails. Like the modern breakers are pretty good at tripping off. So I would say no, that it's
I
not
see.
so much a fire issue, more like
I
a
see.
performance.
Maybe a connection, just a connection thing.
Yeah.
So do you guys, what, do you upgrade the breaker then? Or,
Yeah, we can replace the breaker. We sand down the bus bars where the breaker plugs into, and then we put this stuff called Nolux that makes it much more conductive, and then it lasts another year. It makes it a lot better. So
I see.
it's like changing the oil in your car or something. It's
I
your
see.
car is doing a fine job. It just wear and tear on the engine oil, and it's good to keep it new and fresh.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Um, Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so and it depends on the industry, right? HVAC. If you're just doing HVAC, you have some downtime probably, and you can fit those service agreement calls in between. Well, like you said, roofing, not really a follow up. But yeah, if you have seasonal stuff, you can adjust where and when you have those maintenance agreements
Yeah,
going
I would
on.
guess HVAC is in the fall and the spring. Like when it's super hot, there's air
Yep.
conditioning. When it's super cold, there's heating. So in between those two, hot and cold, I'm
Yep.
sure that's a great way for heating and air companies to keep busy. And any new contractors really, really need to keep track of every single customer, keep them happy, and then talk about that maintenance every job, I would say.
I like that last comment there. Exactly. Every customer is gold, and we should, too many companies ignore them after the job and they're done, right? So if you have that service maintenance agreement, now you're going out once or twice a year. You're staying, like you said earlier, top of mind. They've been with you for years, and they're going to call you when you need something, or you're going to identify it, right? One or the other. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
So,
then they'll call you with questions, and then they'll say, "I got an office at home now. I don't work in the office, and I need like a air conditioning for my office." And then there's a $4,500, split
boom.
system that wasn't there before.
Boom. Yeah. And no matter what industry, if it applies to your industry, there's going to be a percentage of jobs each and every year that need extra work. Don't invent it, of course. There'll be legitimate work needed. There's, like you said, it's not a moneymaker itself. It is more about keeping you top of mind in the customer's, uh, mind, of course, and uncovering, potential work each and every year, right?
Yeah, and it's not like there's an expression like loss leader where you're actually
Right.
willing to lose money on a service call. This is not that. Like you got to price it so you at least break even. But now
Right.
you're breaking even, and let's say you have three guys and you're just barely, maybe you can get a fourth guy now, or even just have yourself and you want to keep the second guy busy. Well, this is the perfect way to add 25% to what you already are prepared to give him. And keep that employee working all the time so that they don't go to greener pastures. It's a really great way to save an employee's, keep the retention there.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I have that service with our HVAC company. They come out twice a year, and it seems to always be somebody who's sort of starting with the company, like an entry level position, sort of, tech. Um, so where was I going to go? Oh, I wanted to transition there. So think about it. You drive up because earlier in our last episode we were talking about the importance of the little sticker, on the
Oh yeah, yeah.
on whatever it is, the electrical panel, the water heater, the whatever. Oh, by the way, for plumbers, water filtration systems, man, are a perfect sale today with the degradation of our municipal water systems. And that's a perfect, 6 month, got to come back and change the filters thing, right?
Well, yeah, for sure. Like we just did it, and it's not cheap.
And
You
it's
find a
not
way
cheap.
to make it not so cheap. Yeah, that's it. And then with plumbers, the trick is if you're going to put a sticker on something like a water heater, or in my case, let's say an electrical panel, like the lights go out, so someone walks, finds their way out to the electrical panel to flip the breaker, and right there it says how to flip your breaker back on. Do this, do this, do this. If you need any help, here's our phone number. And
Wow.
to have a service for free at the very place where the phone number is, that's a good thing. And the plumber's like, flush your water heater out twice a year. It's important. Well, they're like, you know what? And it says to do it. It says do this, open this valve, close this, do whatever you do,
Man.
or call us, and that'll get a lot of work just on. Oh, I better do that then. I better flush my tank. And I'm
That,
sure there's other creative ways. HVAC. Well, there's replacing filters, but also
right?
if you notice, well, I don't know. I don't want to try to figure out HVAC, but the idea is try to give information and help on the very
Yeah.
thing that people say, you know what, I'd rather you just do it. And then they call.
That's brilliant, man. I never heard anybody say that, nor have I seen that, but that's super awesome. Put a
Really?
little instruction in there on that
Well,
sticker,
duh.
make it bigger, and walk them through a simple process. Brilliant, Ken. Loved
I'm
it.
surprised. Even in my worst, I like when I was totally incompetent, I knew about that. Like I figured the first 5 years, maybe I didn't know much. And then after that, I was still losing money every week, but at least I knew to put stickers on.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's paid off now, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's take it through, right? So the truck drives up. So the truck needs to be wrapped. Let's talk about the benefit of wrapped trucks.
Or just well painted or whatever you do. But the idea, I don't know, wrapped in particular, like some people, there's pro and cons on it. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying the idea is use it. You got a billboard on wheels. Like, come on, man.
Exactly.
Okay, it cost you what, $500? I don't know what it cost to $1,000, to get
Yeah, a
it
couple
done.
grand. It's about 2,000 to wrap a truck.
Oh, to wrap a truck. Okay, so now you spend $2,000. How long does it last? How long is that wrap going to last?
Good question. 5, 10 years, maybe.
Okay. Well, all right. I'll do 10
Let's
just to
say
like
5.
okay. I'll do the math and I'll cut it in half. So okay, so it costs 2,000, so that's 200 a year for 10. So that's $400 a year, or you know a
Even if
third
it
of
only.
100. It's like $30 a month or something, $1 a day. That's what it costs. And for $1 a day, you're driving around with this walking billboard or driving billboard. And
Yeah,
yes, people like you wouldn't get it right away if you don't keep track of where people are coming from. But
right,
that's another thing you should always, always, always do. Every question, every customer, like, and where did you hear about us? For
right.
sure. And then you get an idea. That's good for so many reasons. But to wrap up this thought, so you will eventually, like, you won't, not every day, especially if you have one truck. We've got like 15 or something. So, or 12, maybe on the road at least 10 every day. And
Right.
people start recognizing that, and then
We're
they see it.
everywhere.
And even if you have a good enough name and a good enough logo, they don't, of course, let me write that down while I'm in traffic. No, they don't write down the phone number. But on the other hand, what they do is they can remember the name, and then
Right.
they can call, and then they say, I don't know. I don't know exactly where. I just knew about you from somewhere. But then by
Hmm.
then, you know what they're going to do? Again, they're going to look you up. You're going to look up their phone, the company name on the web. And so they're going to look at your website for sure. And then when they look at the website, then you ask them, where do you hear about us? They'll say online. They won't say I was stuck in traffic. They won't say that part. That
Right.
you know.
Right.
And I'm not a fanatic about figuring out actually where every single person comes from every single time. Like, we ask every time, but when somebody says online, all that means to me is, of course, it's online. They checked us out online,
Yeah.
and we don't then say, well, yeah, I know, of course you did, but like, where was it? Your neighbor that told you that, or was it the sign, or was it
Drill
everybody?
down. Yeah. No, that's
Anyway, I
funny.
think I had another point to make, but I forgot being
That's
polite.
okay. That's okay. And you could use magnets, or depending on the budget, you scale up. Um, and even if the darn thing only lasted 2 years, $1,000 a year, $100 a month, or whatever, worth its weight in gold. Yeah. And like you say, especially, well, if you have several trucks, you're probably already doing that, right? So
Doing
probably
what?
not teaching you anything new there. But again, so you drive up to the maintenance appointment, and you've got a wrap truck, or a branded truck of some sort. Yeah, even a hand painted. You said painted earlier. Even a the old school painted. I don't know how many of those guys still exist, or girls, but you could have your thing painted. Anyway,
Or
so
you have magnetic signs on this. At
magnetic
least
sign.
get magnetic signs and stick them on your doors and the back of the van.
Yeah,
That would
yeah,
be 3 per vehicle.
right. That's all we did in the old day before the wrap
Yeah,
was invented.
absolutely.
Yeah. And a way to track, you could get a tracking phone number just for the wraps and put it on there, and you would know, when somebody calls, it's coming from a truck.
Well, yes and no. What you'd know is that 1 out of 10 person that is driving in traffic and frantically writes down your tracking number.
Right.
Mostly, they're going to go online and
Yes.
they're not going to get that same number. So we don't
100%.
bother with that.
Yeah. In fact, it's probably even worse than that. 99 out of 100 are just going to remember the name, hopefully, and look you up online. Exactly.
If you have a noteworthy enough or memorable enough name, this is the funniest thing. There's 2 attorneys. When I drive to the gym every morning, okay, and it takes me like 8 minutes. It's not a long drive, and it's not a long drive back. So let's call it 15 minutes total. I'm in my car both directions, and I'll get sometimes an advertisement for attorneys. There's these 2 attorneys, okay, and one of them is like, they're both the same when it comes to, I think they're like automobile accident guys. Let us chase your ambulance. But anyway, whatever they do, one of them is called like Sweet James, and
Yep.
the phone number is something like 1-800 what 542-1,000,000, or it's like some
Uh,
amazing number, that I forgot.
yeah. Something memorable.
Right, like you would remember it if you needed them right that minute when you're listening. Okay, and
Yeah.
I don't even think they have a jingle. And then there's this other one, and it's like, yeah, we're really great at this, and then they have a jingle, and it goes something like, call 1-877-925-8211. I'm like, dude, like that's your phone number, like. Like it's so not memorable. It's like all that advertising, all that work. It's just so pathetic compared to a simple number. Like
Sweet
even
James. Yeah.
my
Think about
office
that
number is
800
so much
number.
easier than that. So
Yeah.
you know.
It's hard to get a toll-free number today that aligns with what you want, but go on the hunt. Yeah, if you're going to do that kind of effort. So, in the last episode, I think it was, we were talking about, coming at it, or maybe it was the first episode, coming at it a gate with the website and the company name and all that. So this is definitely something to think about for the people who are sort of starting is, think about your advertising down the road. Is there a phone number you can get that's memorable, or a name, that's on that truck that's gonna, stick in their brain a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny because you can't do it. How do I say this? You can be so good at it that it's bad. Like I just had a client because I have this other company that's builds websites, and so this guy got a domain name and he's really happy about it. And I forgot exactly what it was, but it was something like best. It was he was a not what do you call those?
Restoration.
Restoration, right. So it was Best Restoration Company. And you think, wow, that is an amazing thing to get these days, like to get it, the website and everything. But like what he didn't think about, and I haven't even told him yet because he just called like a few days ago, and I don't know if he's going to become a client. So if he gets one, my first advice is, I really hate to tell you this, but if you use that name, everyone's going to type in best, and 900 people are advertising against you using those keywords, best restoration company. So unfortunately, it's too good. It's like too well thought of as the perfect.
Too generic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're not going to stand out. And you're right. People are searching that. So yeah, everybody and their mother's, paying for that keyword.
Right,
Yeah.
like Joe's Restoration or Santa Monica Restoration, that would work just fine. I'm not
Right.
sure about Restoration R Us, but probably. But like Best Restoration, oh man,
No,
that's
no.
going to be rough.
And if you are starting and you have some coin, you may want to look into, Google and finding a branding expert. They're out there, and worth, well, maybe maybe worth the money. Who knows? But a name is can be important, or it can be as simple as Joe's Plumbing. Just your name.
Right,
All right. So
plumbing
the
magic. Magic works pretty good if you can come up with your trade
magic,
in magic.
magic plumbing.
Right. And by the way, for people that don't know, generally in the United States, it isn't like only one person gets plumbing magic. Like you can, I don't know that there's any rules about that. Like I know in LA, I've been miserable in many times because I've had several people in the past use my company name, the Electric Connection, and then
Wow.
it's a reflection on me, but I can't stop it because
No.
I think
Well.
you're either allowed 3 names in LA County or maybe unlimited. I don't really know. But unfortunately, one of the guys one time had really bad credit. And I didn't realize that for about 6 months when I was this is a long time ago, trying to get credit at a wholesale house. And they wouldn't even reply until finally I called up the owner and he's like real sarcastic. Oh, like I'm going to give you credit. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? And then I got it after I explained. And then another time, these DEA agents came into like 4 of them
Yikes.
came into my office, like ready to go, hands on their guns, not pulled them out yet or anything. And they're like, it turns out this is like before California marijuana was legal, that some place out in the desert, another Electric Connection guy was growing a marijuana factory, hidden in a house somewhere in a basement. I actually got a job out of that. Like I actually gave him a consulting job to figure out how much power was being used for growing the plants. But yeah, it took me a little bit of fancy communication before I got arrested on that one.
Man, I can't even imagine.
But
Don't
the
want to
point
be.
is, you can pick a name that may be okay, but you'll never pick a domain name on the
Right.
internet more than once. Only one. But you can add a letter here and there. You can do things to it if you have to. And these days, more and more you have to. It's getting
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, you
crowded.
got a lot of domain squatters too.
Or buy one from the squatters, which is what they want you to do.
Yeah. Now the names, so you can, so yeah, if you're in that name hunt, I would recommend also if you come up with a name you think it's brilliant, go over to the what is it, USPTO.gov or whatever, Patent and Trade Office, and just search on there. Make sure nobody owns a trademark to that name. That should be always in your step. And then if you want to protect your name, kind of, sort of, you can trademark your name. I will say, as an old guy, been around the block a few times, all the legal protections and contracts and all that crap in the world is only as good as your wallet and temperament to defend it and prosecute it and pay for lawyers to do it. So you can protect your name, but you're going to be suing people maybe like crazy. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah,
choose carefully.
everything you just said is true. I think we trademarked Happy Contractor, the website building name, and
Yeah,
I didn't trademark Electric Connection because even though that's much larger, produces a lot of income. And the reason is it wouldn't be fair or just because I know all over the country there's
right,
other companies called Electric Connection. So
right.
either I couldn't do it or I wouldn't do it. Either way,
Yeah,
it has
yeah,
not fortunately been the guys that I just talked about that were, using my company name, they never got big. They
right.
would go out of business, and as most contractors do, unless they know what they're doing. So yeah, it
Yeah,
was
for the most part, you're not going to run into problems. Do
right.
trademark though, if you're in that naming
If you
stage.
can do it, yeah, it could well be worth. It's not that
Yeah.
expensive either.
Well, more important to search, make sure you're not infringing on somebody else's trademark.
Yeah,
And then
there's that.
whether
True.
you want to do it or not, like if you do it, it'll probably deter some people. But like I said, if you've never tried to sue anybody or been in a lawsuit before, you're in for a treat.
Oh, a big treat.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to. We talked about it a little bit before. I'm sorry. Before we move on, we got our truck in front of the house. We got wrap. We got stickers on whatever we're repairing. But then I like how you have in here signage. So talk about how signage has been a benefit for you, or
You
not.
well, the wrap is signage, right?
Well, yeah, the wrap is signage, but do you put yard signs and things like that if you're going to be there for a few hours, or
No,
no?
we don't. Like, it's not a bad plan. If you're working on a house that's on the street, which most of them are, you drop it in there. It's not a bad plan. We, the thing is, we got the van sitting right there in the driveway,
Good
which
point.
is eloquently communicating that there's a work truck doing work there. So
Good point.
we don't do it now on a construction site. Maybe it's worth it if it
Oh,
lasts a while. It might be something to do.
good
I'm
point.
not
Good
saying
point.
no. In fact, it's probably in my book. I'm probably one of the ways I recommend is to do it if you want to do that. It's
Well,
just
that might go back to like you don't have a branded. So you're right. As soon as I asked it, I realized, well, you got a wrap truck right there, Mark. But maybe you don't. In which case, then signs,
you're right.
and the
If
magnet.
you're invisible, let's say you're what would it be? Maybe a pool maintenance guy, and your truck isn't the kind that people can easily see advertising
Good
on.
point.
But then again, the pool guys, they're in and out in like 30 minutes, or they're losing money. So I don't know.
Right. It depends. So see if it fits your if you're in the.
It absolutely does if you're a general contractor and you're going to be someplace for 3 months doing a remodel. I mean, come on.
Yeah, yeah.
That's obvious that you would want to do it then.
Yeah, good point. So if you're in a multi-day job, you're in a repipe, or I don't know what, maybe you're rewiring a house,
Mhm.
something like that. You're there for several days. Then then signage through the evening when you're not there, and the neighborhood's out taking a walk and stuff might be awesome.
Yeah, if you're there for more than a week, then you're not there on the weekend. Your signs are, so it might pay at
Right.
that point.
I like it. How about you also talk a little bit about, so now we've left the house and
Well,
we're
one
moving
other
on.
thing. I mean, let's if you really get into it, get some shirts that have logos on them. So like look a little professional. Like
Oh, yeah.
forget the tennis shoes. At least get some brown shoes of some kind, and hopefully work boots that show, oh yeah, we're a little more professional than others. We don't just have a ratty white T-shirt or something. There is that
Good
aspect
point,
of
Kim.
things, and especially when it gets cold, that's a great opportunity. Then you put on a sweater, sweatshirt, hoodie, jacket, So and hats are good.
Yeah, 100%. I skimmed right over that, just assuming, right? So, yeah, even if you're a one-person shop, shirt, hat, like you say, some nice, decent work slacks and work boots or something.
Yeah, we've gone back and forth on it. We do so much work now for property management companies that the tenants don't care, and we do.
Oh, apartment complexes and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like and the property managers don't care because they don't really look at us. So we're very relaxed compared to what we used to have uniforms. We used to have a cleaner.
Yeah.
I don't know how much money we spend every month, but what we do now is the guys wear jeans. They have to wear some kind of work boots just for OSHA safety.
Protection. Yep.
But then we're just not. Somehow they work hard. They get sweaty, and I'd rather just. It's your own clothes. Just do whatever you're going to do, and wash your own clothes. Like the truth is, Mark, we just have so much work. We don't have to do these little details that would really increase the amount of work we have. It's just that if anything, we can't find enough competent people to do the work. And the truth is, until you can really find a competent person, you're acting against your self-interest to hire someone that's not the right person. Even if you're not making as much income that week, you didn't upset somebody.
Right. Right.
And then occasionally you'll grab another person, and then we're growing not even at 10%. Like I know you've interviewed people that are like, yeah, like we grow 50% a week. Like this is not our company, man. Like we're already making good dough. Everyone in my company makes a lot of money relative to their trade. Customers love us, and I'm already set. So I'm just not hungry enough to do those final details. It's that 80-20 rule. This is so important. My life surrounds this philosophy, 80-20. 80% of the best you're ever going to get, 80% is done in 20% of the time or effort. And that's so true. It is just, I can't get over. And then, so that now there's like 20% left, and the next 80% of that last 20% is also just another 20% of effort.
80 of 20. Yeah.
But that little understanding that rule means to me that 80% is guys show up in work boots and they work hard and they're friendly and polite, and that's all free, and they do their own laundry, and they buy their own material at the wholesale house, which is a whole other story. But the point is, okay, that took 20%. That last push to get that final bit is so much effort. Like to talk about getting laundry service and making sure the guys wear this, and then if it's tear, they have to fill out a form, and they meet at our company for a warehouse. We have a meeting about the fact that some of the uniforms are not clean enough. All just that one little tiny detail. But imagine I can think of 20 things that would make us slightly better, but the overall, it's like an anchor on a speedboat. Like it's just not worth it. You can travel so much faster and lose that baggage. Just don't carry that weight. Just do the essential stuff and do it really, really well.
Yeah.
Really well. Yeah. And then that's the way we work anyway.
That's it's good shared experience, so going all the way to uniforms, you're committed to a lot going on there. So, keeping it for the guys who are not 4 decades in and super happy where they're at, and their employees have been with them, all their techs have been with them for a decade, with you for years, or if not decades, and performance pay, they're all out there killing it and all that good stuff. But guys who are in the earlier phases, you should be branded. You don't have definitely. You don't have to go all in on uniform.
Get at least
That's a
get
commitment.
jackets and hoodies for the guys in the winter.
Yeah.
For sure that
Yeah.
because they'll wear them. See,
Right.
the thing about we used to have like white shirts, button up shirts with like little
Oh
tags
yeah.
and all that,
Yeah.
and now then it went to T-shirts that had the logo.
The
And
logo. Yeah.
we still have some of that, or the truth is just don't have holes in your stuff, and if they're clean above your jeans, which also don't have any holes in them, we're good enough, because we do, like I said, a lot of work where people, it's turned out that it doesn't make a difference.
You do a lot of tenant
The
work.
effort involved, it doesn't pay for the benefit. We're not getting any more benefit much to do that, so we've dropped it.
Gotcha.
But if you're a single guy, this is the funniest part. The irony is, if you are yourself, and maybe yourself and a helper, hey, you know what? Maybe having logos on your shirts and all that is just the opposite effect. It looks like you're from some big company and
Right.
you're very professional. You might want to go that direction. Plus, if it's just you and a helper, it's much easier to keep track of your own clothing.
Yeah. I like that. So yeah, you could have the uniform, as a small crew or independent operator. But yeah, as a marketing guy, I think you should always be branded, right? But I think a T-shirt or a button-down and a cap is all you need, and they can have 3 or 4 of them, and like you say, do their own laundry and stuff. Yeah, if you go all the way to uniform, now you got all kinds of.
You have no idea, like, what we went through. Like, it wasn't like misery. It was just like, at the end, we ended up with like 50 pairs of pants. Oh, don't forget, everyone is a different size, and how worn are they? Can we give them to the next guy, or should we throw them
Right.
out? Or,
Nah, it sounds like a nightmare.
It's just too much of a thing.
I don't like it. All right, we drove away. We've got our service contract keeping us connected, and now let's talk. Like, what else can we use to keep us connected? Newsletters, email newsletters, text messaging campaigns every once in a while. What do you guys? What do you find works really well?
Okay, the first thing that works really, really well is quality work. Now
Right.
I'm preaching to the choir, but I'm just saying. You just don't understand how important it is that customers have to feel like you did quality work. Way more important than the money. Like,
Yeah.
if they feel like, well, the guy was kind of expensive, but he did quality work. The guy was kind of expensive, but he answered the phone.
Right.
I called 2 guys before him that didn't answer the phone. I know they were cheaper because the neighbors said they were really good, but they were cheap, but they didn't answer the phone, or
Right.
But if you provide a quality service, you are forgiven for being 10% more expensive. For sure. People will almost respect you for it.
Yeah.
But if you got to have quality service, and I'm just saying that is the number one thing. And the second thing is you're friendly and communicative. They have to feel comfortable with you. So now, I know this because I experience it. When I have tradesmen come to my house, I hate plumbing. I got to say, I don't like water. Somehow sprinklers and toilets and, I used to replace my toilet valves or whatever I'd have to do. And okay, so I hired plumbers the other day, and it took them like 2 hours to fix 2 toilets just because of and they were pros, and I was thinking, what would have taken me to do that stuff?
2 days. Yeah.
Okay, but I'll tell you, if they had been just a little more friendly or something, it would make me write them down and say, these are the guys I want to come forever. Like, they weren't mean. They didn't have that personality, that little touch of,
Yep.
they're one of us, I'm one of them. Like, we're working as a team. If you can go to somebody's house and get them to think that you're on their team, your job is to do what they want, but you have the experience to get it done.
Right.
And you want to help them. You want to help them. They will be with you forever if your quality of work is good, and that they'll pay you. They'll pay you more. Remember, they pay the mortgage on a house. They have some money. They go out to restaurants.
Yep.
They buy one extra drink. That's $20 these days. Like
Yeah.
they can pay that extra $10 an hour or whatever, or just $150, $175. That's not going to influence them. Go with the
Right.
175, but at the same time, deliver on quality work and friendliness. Okay, so that's a baseline. That's the foundation with which you do all the now repeat business techniques that you want to use. Now, my problem is that's so powerful, and I'm being sincere. I'm just telling you, it's so powerful that I can't do more. I can't promote more right now, because if I did, I'd get more work. And if I got more work, I wouldn't be able to do it fast enough, and I wouldn't keep my customers satisfied.
Mm.
I'm not. I know, what is that called? Like, that's like humble bragging or something. But I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just trying
it's
to
a
be really
key.
clear about it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm in a better position. I've had 45 years to build a customer base. So let's get real. Like, let's say it's a guy just starting off. It's him and his cousin, the young cousin helper or something. Who knows what? But they're out there, and they just started. Where's all their work going to come from? And I actually, in my book, I talk about how they might still have a work half the time with the company that they used to be with, and then
Right.
they schedule around that. But I'm just saying, clearly they don't have 45 years of customer base. And yes, I still have customers. Our company's outlived our original customers almost completely. But
Yeah.
to the degree that they're still alive, we have customers 20, 30 years ago, and they're still
Right.
calling us. So, but anyway, that being said, I have tried things. It's just wasted time. It's that 80-20 rule. I just like to keep the 20% that's most effective. But in this order, that you get the first thing I have right now, I have something I wrote, and it's how to pick a good contractor. And it's a document, a PDF document that has like 20 like headers that like links to other parts within the PDF. Everything about how to pick a good contractor. There's actually an entire technique of how to get a good contractor out there using the internet these days. But I could send that out, and we've got thousands and thousands of customers, but I'm afraid to send it out because, you see, it would be good PR. I wouldn't even say I've got a special. I know that's a big deal with a lot of companies. They say, by the way, I've got 20% off of this month and stuff. I know that's important. It's just that we're stealth promotion or something. We never do that. We just say, we're helping you, and they want to help back. They like you. So my point, though, is I'm afraid I have this thing waiting. It's like a year old. I don't send it out, though. But that's a perfect example of something that would work. Or what you do is you make always on the internet. So it'd be email, because it's so much cheaper. You make an email newsletter. And my suggestion on that is you start with a joke. Like not a dad joke, but not a very slightly risque, perhaps, but that's it. PG maybe, but
Right.
mostly just a really good joke. That's relatively short, a joke, and then you have something else that's like, did you know, and just something else that's human interest or something, because people don't really want to know about plumbing, or heating and air. But the joke, they get that. And then you say, okay, well, we just want to let you know that we're blah, blah, blah. And at that point, you might say, if you ever need, we know that you should be emptying your water out of your water tank, and you don't. We get it. Like, it just doesn't happen, but it could double the life of your water heater. Instead of 10 years, it could last 20 or whatever. So we're just letting you know, and that's why we charge a break-even price on that particular job. we don't even have to say what it is. We just say we just let you know that's more like a service we try to give you to let and then if you're interested in learning more, give us a call. We can set you up with it every 5 years. We can do it for you automatically if you want to do that. Something like that, just a newsletter. So bottom line is those are some bright ideas for newsletters.
Those are good ideas.
Okay, but then the thing is, let's say you really need to send out, you get a lot of success with that. So you're going to do it, let's just say quarterly. Let's get real. Like who has time to make newsletters all the time? They take time.
Mm-hmm.
The first one really takes time, but then the second one, use the same template. Just go, okay, another joke, another human interest, and then an article. And keep it really short. You don't have to have like a 3-page newsletter. You don't even have to look very pretty. But keep the logo the same, the template the same. So all you have to do is fill in the blanks, and then maybe you can do one every quarter. If you do it like that, and I suggest try to keep it simple. Again, the second one should take 20% of the time it took the first one. The first one's going to take you some time to get it all set up. So a newsletter, that's a good one.
Yeah. So, create a template. Doesn't have to be dressed up. It can be a plain email newsletter. They get opened more than the branded ones also anyway.
And keep them, they like you. So if your name is memorable, they go, oh, I know the guys here, Joe's Electric or Joe's Plumbing. I remember they were good. What do they want?
Right.
And don't try not to make them annoyed at you, for sure. Make them happy they opened that newsletter, because next time they'll open it again if they like the joke. And also, for sure, you always have to say, look, if you don't want these, just opt out. Don't make it goddamn hard to opt out. Just click on this. Okay, you're done. Like an acknowledgement. Okay, you've been opt out, as opposed to climb the hill of pain and then find the missing part at the top and then put the little piece of paper. Now you're opt out. Don't do that.
It's crazy how hard some companies make it. Actually, like Google and others have a one-click unsubscribe kind of rule.
I love it. Yeah, it makes me sometimes not unsubscribe when I know it can be so simple and I have faith in them. I go, well, I can do it some other time. Then I forget another month,
Right.
So it's really, I get vindictive when it something like the New York Times.
If they make it difficult, I'm probably never doing business. Back. I'm never doing business with you again, probably.
Yeah, I do that. I actually am one of those guys. I do that.
Make it easy to do business with you and to stop doing temporarily. So those emails should be, like you say, fun. They should be maybe educational, seasonal, some things to do, button up, your plumbing for the winter, whatever. And I even like the around town kind of thing. So, maybe, this is the team's favorite 3 restaurants, whatever.
Anything. See, it's all about the interest level of the people you're sending it to.
Right.
Here's an interesting thing. If some people know this, a lot of people don't. Like you watch a beer commercial. Do they even allow them anymore? I haven't seen. Well, I don't watch TV very much, so I don't know. But let's just say there's a beer commercial. What you see is a bunch of middle-aged guys if it's like light beer, and all these good-looking girls that are 10 years younger, and they're playing pool, or they're happy, or everybody's happy. Oh, they're so happy. This beer is like something like the elixir of life, apparently. They're okay. The thing is, it's called positioning. Like people go, oh, look, successful, happy people out with friends, having a great time equals this beer.
Right.
Okay. And it has nothing. How about like a guy sitting in a chair with a suit and tie and says, let me explain something to you. I've done a taste test of 97 beers, and this one by a percentage of 900% over any other beer is the best beer. So you should take that beer. It's very logical. Yeah, good luck seeing that advertisement. Like long ago, people have realized it's not the logic. That was in the 50s. They still did it in the 50s. Yeah. It's been 75 years since they figured out positioning, where it's not the logic of which shampoo does the best for your hair, which beer is the most, what cigarette tastes the best. It's all about which one equals happier you,
Lifestyle. Yeah.
it's all about this equals that. So
Yep.
you, like when you are getting into your marketing, you need on newsletters that positioning is, you have to remember it's not about we're the best company for these logical reasons and stuff. You can
No.
sort of imply that you're not bad or that you're good, but you don't have to ever say it. You have to talk about
Yes.
around town and a good joke and
Right.
and then they go, oh, this is a nice company and this guy has a sense of humor. I like this guy.
Right. Right.
Like it's understated, but it's there. They must be quality electricians because they're quality communicators. Like that.
Exactly.
That's positioning, and it's very powerful.
Exactly. Super important for that message to come across. It's about them, not you. So don't be selling on every, you can have a offer at the bottom of every email or something in the signature line or the PS or something like that. But, the whole thing needs to be about them. Now
And
you can use it.
try not to make your offer. It's about money. I mean, yes,
Right.
it's about money, but if you say, you know, 10% off or 20% off or call us after you get other bids, you're asking for the worst kind of customers, the ones
Yeah,
that are wanting the cheapest price. And so
exactly.
keep that in mind. There's a balance there of people feeling they're getting a really good value as opposed to people that are getting a cheap price. If you can keep them
Right.
on they're
Right.
calling you because they want the value, that's where you want to go on this thing.
Yeah, super important right there. And I'm pretty sure we spoke a lot about that in our previous episodes. So 164, go back to that one if you didn't listen to it. So super important on what kind of customer you want to attract. What do you think of bundling things, Kim? Like we're going to have a July 4th special and we put this A, B, and C together, and here's our total install price. Really, probably not a discount of any kind there, just a convenience of putting a couple things together.
Well, it's almost like people are so conditioned now when they see an offer that
Yep,
they just assume that it must be a lower price than it would normally be.
right,
Not because I ever do that or you would necessarily have to do it. It's just
right.
that people are so conditioned that other people do it. They always talk about do this and it's cheaper, do this and it's cheaper. You have that working for you. Now you can work on value because you don't have to work on cheaper, cheaper, cheaper because
Right.
just getting any kind of offer somehow implies it
Yes.
must be a good deal.
Brilliant.
But the good deal turns out to be a good deal because of value. Whether you say that or not, that's the good deal, not because it's a cheaper price
Yeah.
this week than last week or something like that. There's things like 10% off senior citizens, and a lot of
Yeah.
people think, oh, that's a nice thing, and
Right.
that's not quite the same thing as cheaper, cheaper. That's more like
Right.
we care about our senior citizens, or
Right.
and there are
Military,
websites.
first responders, things like that. Yes. I
Right. You
agree.
can even somehow imply that for every dollar our company gets, a portion goes to battered women shelters, or you
Love
can
it.
find things as long as it doesn't upset the people that are. Well, I like to hit my wife. No, actually
Yeah.
not. But if you can
Yeah, you
find,
don't want that customer. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
But no,
you
you're
want to
right.
you don't want to upset customers, but
Think it
you find
through.
something that they would like to do, save the children or something like that.
Yeah.
That is something that can be done. Like you're part of the community. You're
Right.
helping the community, and it can be helpful to find something within the community that you are a sponsor for.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I like that a lot. And I will say, after all the episodes, most of the companies who are super successful, not all, everybody's different. Like you said, some people like the network, others don't. The super successful service companies are involved in the local community in some fashion or another. So this is a great way, actually, brilliant to bring it up. So for every whatever $100 spent, X dollars goes to this local community charity or whatever. Like that a lot. Like that a lot. Investigate that on your local level out there, folks. Yeah, super good. Email, staying connected to that customer. So if you don't have a maintenance agreement, then and you're done with the job, right? Then how am I ever going to hear about you again? And if I'm not going to have another electrical problem probably for, I don't know, a couple of years, right? You get your sticker on my electrical panel, but you didn't stay in touch with me the whole rest of the time. Or, it's on my water heater, but you didn't stay in touch with me. So you got to figure out some way. By the way, text campaigns are absolutely awesome, but can be overused. So really, 4 times a year or so, every 3 or 4 months, maybe. Some people use it quicker than that, and don't send out a giant text, ad. Just hey, we're thinking of having a special of some, or not thinking, we're having some kind of special, like you say, it's a bundle of some sort, not really a price off. And if you're interested, just reply with a keyword and make it a small message so they read it. Anyway,
Yeah,
sorry.
enough volume of almost any kind of acceptable promotion produces something,
Yeah,
so it's hard to go wrong unless you spend so much time and money that it costs more to promote than it does to get the results back. And by the way, it should be 10 to 1. Like when you do any kind of sales or promotion, my
yeah,
viewpoint is, like $1,000 job, you better reserve 10% of that, $100 for future promotion. But the
right.
implication is every $100 you spend on promotion, you better get $1,000 job.
Make it. I like it. Keep to that 10 to 1, and your lowest cost acquiring of jobs is going to be your existing customers and referrals from them.
Yeah,
So
and that's the thing. Like if you know that's true, which it is, those are the people that you promote to more than anybody. Like those are
exactly.
you've got them. As long as you treated them well and they like you, you're going to get their next job if they remember you. And
Yep.
the only way they're going to remember you is if that's what promotion is, that you're in front of them somehow, that they're going to notice you. Sales comes after they notice you, so they got to remember you. And I got to say, I've had some guys come here that were great, and then who were they again? Like a year later,
Right.
like, so
Right.
I've actually learned to, if I really like someone, I'll put them in my smartphone now under
Yeah.
that category, just so that I'll remember, because they never promote.
Exactly. Exactly.
They never read my book.
They really haven't. Kim,
No,
I
and they're out
swear.
there, they're 60 years old and they're still crawling under a sink, making it no leaking. I feel
Exactly,
for them,
man.
but what can I say, man?
If I talk to 100 companies, Kim, uh, I'm going to say 90 of them, and that's probably being generous, ignore their past customers, and 10 of them promote to their past customers. And I think I'm being generous, quite honestly. It's amazing to me. Even if you're a roofer, what did we identify before? A roofer,
A
you know,
painter.
a painter, where you think you're never coming back, or it's going to be years or whatever. By the way, some people paint their house every goddamn year. Pardon my French. Um,
Well, okay. Or window installer. That's a terrible one to
window installer.
repeat business.
But
But you can
all
get,
these
see, the thing is, you may not get a repeat on window installing. Like, how would you? Okay, but on the other hand, you can get a hell of a lot of referrals.
exactly, man.
So you can still promote to
Exactly.
those people.
Yeah, stay connected. So that doesn't have to be a newsletter every 2 weeks. That could be the quarterly kind of newsletter, and maybe an annual. I don't know. Figure it out. But man, don't don't leave your past customers in the dust, which is what all you damn guys do. So stop doing it.
Well, it's sort of like saying answer your phone, like, come on, man.
Those man, if you just did those two things right there, I bet your business for most guys and gals out there, your business probably double
Yeah. I can't tell you. At some point I was $300,000 in debt from all the crazy mistakes I ever made, and
early on.
yeah, and unfortunately, early on meant that now that $300,000 is worth $700,000. Imagine
Right.
being $700,000 in debt. Okay, because that's what I was, and I'm no joke here. I used to have to like go to the IRS, who were trying to close down my company, and I would give them some
Wow.
money, and I would explain if they closed me down, I couldn't pay them anymore, so they better not. It was
Right.
rough, man. But I'm telling you that for this reason. That's how many mistakes I made. That's how incompetent I was. But I'll tell you what I never didn't do. And the only thing that saved me was I answered my freaking phone. Every single time I found a way to get back right away to that customer and make and be friendly and competent and do excellent
Right.
work. I didn't even know enough yet to, leave stickers on my electrical panels and stuff. But I'm just saying, friendly, competent, and communicative and quality work is what saved my company, no question
Yeah.
about it. And
Yeah.
now my guys out in the field are all friendly. We only hire them when they are and friendly and competent. And we're doing jobs. We're doing a lot of management company jobs where we have to replace electrical panels now because they're the wrong
Right.
brand according to insurance companies. So we're doing a lot of that kind of business. And we are getting so many referrals from the original happy customers. And these referrals are averaging about $30,000 jobs.
Nice.
And when I say referrals, I mean 2 or 3 a week, just
Nice.
and then they've already been told how great we are. We have this great track record because we do good quality work, right? We are good with the tenants and all that kind of stuff. So we get the majority of these jobs, not because we promoted to brand new people, but because it's a referral. We have people saying how good we are.
Right.
And it doesn't hurt that I do webinars like this one. This is about just helping people, really. It's, I'm not expecting money from this. I'm just trying to help. I'm just saying, okay, I'm a contractor. I like you guys, so I'm trying to give you some advice. That's really what this is about. There's
Sweet.
really no money involved for me here. That's not my goal. But there is webinars where I do them for like apartment association or something. And man, okay, the kind of feedback I get is unbelievable. But it would
Nice.
have completely fallen apart if we weren't friendly, competent, and did quality work and
Right.
communicated. You do
Right.
those four things, and that's probably 80% of what you'll ever need to do.
Yeah. There's the old 80-20
Yeah,
again. Just
that's right.
be a good human. Give a
Because it
damn.
takes 20% of your effort to do those things that creates 80% of the benefit. It only takes some of your time to be
Right.
friendly. How much time does it take to be friendly?
It's
You got to
ridiculous.
say hello or not say hello to somebody anyway.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah. Be just care. Just freaking care. If not, then work for other people. This is what 99% of us do is work for somebody else. Running your own business is a pain in the ass. So, why go
right.
down that road if you're already a grouchy son of a bitch? Then if you don't like people, don't go into business, man.
Right. If you don't like people, then you better like your trade and then do a
Yeah,
fantastic job with your trade. And then your boss and other people are going to go, well, he's a real jerk, but at least we don't want to fire him. He's too good to get rid of.
exactly.
That's what people are saying behind your back if you're a total crank, but you're a quality guy. And I
Exactly.
know, I not that because when I was a helper, I worked for a guy that I was like an apprentice to this guy who was so everything was so rough and awful and life was miserable and this and that. And he'd go to the wholesale houses and complain about everything. But he was a
God,
good electrician. He taught me enough for me to go out on my own. And that one thing kept him busy. He had a quarter page ad in the yellow pages back when that mattered. And
I see.
he had one van. He could not possibly have any more employees than me. I was the only guy that could tolerate him. And he'd just go around and he made a certain amount of money that way. He could never expand his business based on his personality.
Terrible.
But he
Terrible.
had a quality work so if you're a cranky guy that doesn't like customers, doesn't put up with crap, then it's time to focus on your trade.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You can still
So
find a
so
better
let
boss. Like maybe you can find a business where you get paid better than where you're getting paid now.
Yeah.
You can do
Exactly.
that. Like look for the
Exactly.
best money for the quality of work that you do.
Yeah, there's a company out there that'll pay you top dollar for whatever you're super awesome at, and go do that. Why? Plus, you would be uncomfortable, and not all of us, not every human is a people person, and that's okay. And if that is you, then you're probably super uncomfortable every single day going to a new customer's house and stuff. Why would you want to go through that crap?
Right. Just find a good boss. Just find a good company where every day they had some work for you. Find a company that does the stuff that we're talking about here, and
Right.
provides you with a job every single day where you're going to
Right.
make some pretty decent money. And it's
Yeah.
very uncomplicated. You just go
Yeah.
out there, do your thing, get paid, and
Exactly.
you'll be happier, and so will everybody else.
Yeah. Let's close with this, Kim. So so I'm screening, I'm hiring, I'm a whatever, running a roofing company or something, and I'm screening people for, great personalities, happy, go lucky people. And then I bring them into my company. And now, how do I solidify that? Like, what kind of training do you offer, or do you recommend to really drive that home that this is all about the customer, man, and we accept nothing but 5-star, service. And what are we looking at? Exchange with the customer.
Okay, start by, and I think I have a whole chapter on this at least in the
Oh
book
yeah,
about how to
I
hire
bet.
people. It'll come up somewhere in there, but the general idea is first you get resumes. Even before you get a resume, sometimes you can have learned enough to know that you're not going to want somebody. But if you get their resume and then they show up, that's on time for the interview. But you don't even try to do an interview until you do an over the phone interview. And mostly you can deal with stuff. Okay, but eventually you find someone, 1 out of 5 maybe, that actually is worth interviewing in person. So now you're going to do the interview as long as they show up in time. You look them over. Do you like them? If you don't like them, it's done. Okay. If you do like them, okay, you got to look at their resume and see. There's so many different ways to go there, but you got to look at the logic of they've been there for 20. They've been a tradesperson for 20 years, and they're still a helper. I mean, why? Or whatever
Right.
their issues are. There's so many like conflicting things that you can ask yourself why. Okay. The best guys are not going to be there most of the time
No.
because their bosses don't want to let them go. So even
Right.
in a recession, they're the best or the last to be let go looking for another job, unless they're not treated well where they are. That's every now and then the magic perfect storm comes up where there's a guy that is just fed up with the
Yep.
incompetence of the company he's working for. He's not making enough money, or she wants to get out there and do that, and they are really good at what they do. So then you hire them on a probationary period, and then you always have to work with somebody else for the first 2 weeks just to know how to do the admin of your company
Yeah.
or whatever. And so you go with a superintendent that can really grok what they're like, and if they work out, the chances are at least 75% they're going to work out a long time if they're paid more generally than they ever asked for when they first came to work there. At least in my company, I'm able to do that. They're surprised, and then then
Nice.
especially on their own merit, they're so thrilled. Like, finally, I can like demonstrate my competence and get paid for it.
And get paid. Yeah.
And they don't have to ever come to me for a raise because they give themselves a raise. How the quality of their work, because they can't say, well, that's just not enough money for what I'm doing. Oh yeah, well look at these 3 guys over here. Like they're buying houses and they're in
Right.
the same pay system. They get the same kind of jobs. Like, why don't you ask them what they do differently than you? And of course, our supervisor tries to show them. And that's all. They come with the personality they need to have, and then they're
Right.
in an environment that nurtures that. I don't give them pep talks.
Bingo.
There's no special training to be a nice person.
Bingo. Yeah. Yeah, the system is set up so they benefit by being great, and they share in the companies gaining the rewards for that, right?
Yeah,
So
everybody wins, and we're all partners. Essentially,
right,
management and labor are partners in my company, the way it works. And then let's say there's a really great person, and everything's wonderful, and they're nice, and they blah blah blah. Yeah, but they have this tendency to show up late or something, like for the first job. Okay, it's time to sit down and talk with them and say, look, like there's an issue. You're great in many ways, but you got to work on this because it's not acceptable. That's
right,
no matter how great you are, this is a deal killer, and
right,
about half the time they can handle it and half the time they can't. And
right.
that's life the way it is. But
Life the way it is.
we haven't, I don't know if we've hired anyone for a year, and yet maybe we have we grow our helpers into journeymen, so
Right.
we tend to hire journeymen. Our journeymen never leave unless they retire. They get old and then they retire. But
Right.
there's just no place they're going to get more money or a happier work environment or more satisfaction than. I mean, I'm just saying that's my understanding because
Yeah.
they
No.
don't quit, and then the helpers grow into journeymen. And about that point, we've expanded a little bit, so we have more work that way. And
Yeah.
so far, it's working out. That's what we do anyway.
Yeah. I
Like
like it.
I can conclude by saying I'm not a genius in any way. I don't. I think my big skill is letting other people be smarter than me and just let them
Yeah.
do what they do. And
That's it.
I give away. I'm generous in that I feel everyone deserves whatever they can benefit by their labor and
Yeah.
stuff, and I do too. But I'm
Yeah.
not here to take too much. I really I don't even get 10% of what the company produces at all, and
Mm.
I don't want it. In fact, at some point, I'm going to give away my company to my
Right.
employees. I don't know when exactly, but it's coming.
Nice. I like it. I like it. Yeah, make room for them to grow and learn and earn. Learn and earn. I didn't
Yeah,
realize I was
I'm
going down there.
not, in fact, what most people would consider like a Christian, let's say, or anything else like that. But I act like one. It seems like a lot more than average. The golden rule means something. But what it
Yeah.
means to me is affluence. Like
Yeah.
in this country, anyway, if you apply the golden rule and you're confident,
Yeah.
you know what? People will reward you.
Yeah. It'll flow back to you. Yeah. Just be a great human, and it'll flow back to you. We're all going to have our challenges, of course. Nobody's challenge free in life, but yeah, just be a good human, man, and it comes
Yeah,
back to you.
what customer wants you to show up late to their job? I
Right.
know
Exactly.
none of them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So don't do that. Like, what
Yeah.
customer likes you if you are there and you want to help them and you do one little extra little thing for them or something? All
Yeah.
of them, and you just, what would you do? What would you like? How would you like it to
Right.
be treated? Just do that.
Right.
Just do
That's
that. Come on, guys, just do it. And then life takes care of you.
it. Really is that simple, folks. $1 Million Contracting. It's available on Audible as well. And tell them where they can get the book direct from yourself there, Kim.
Oh, yeah, there's a website, $1,000,000contracting.com.
Super awesome. And if they want to connect with your company,
Electric Connection, I guess.
electricconnection.com, right?
You can
Los
go to the
Angeles.
website and call in. If you need some kind of special advice or something, let me know, and I'll see
Super
what I can.
awesome.
Oh, I know, happycontractor.com. That'll
Oh
get
yeah, yeah. You
me.
help contractors. Oh, I meant to talk about review. It looks like chapter 5 is going to go on one more one more week.
Yeah, whatever. Well, we're both into promotion, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All good, all good. All right. Well, to the listeners out there, thanks for hanging all this time. There was some golden nuggets in there for me, so I hope you grasp some as well. Kim, thanks for your time, sir. Appreciate sharing the knowledge, man.
Well, you're very welcome. Anything I can do to help people in their trade endeavors, I'm happy to do it.
You're doing it, brother. You're doing it. All right, everybody. Create a great day out there. Peace.